of night, it brings refuge, and we ran and hide by light of the moon.
Yo, UPA.
Is ready? Is recording?
This is a tester, yeah, but obviously it's never gonna get it wrong.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy John Wilson here in the spot, man. Ready to drop some knowledge, kick facts, sit back and relax. Oh, still in your show.
Okay, yes, this is my channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey there, welcome back to my channel. This is Chella, aka Sonchella, and this is my infamous boyfriend, John, aka John the Dreamer. And today we wanted to come on and tell you guys a little bit about how we met, because I want to have him on my channel a little bit more often, but I figured it might be best to just like have a little bit of introduction first.
Yeah.
So
I'm here, bro.
So did you want to kick it off?
I think this is your show.
You era.
It's your world. I'm just in it.
Anyways, so I guess I'll start since someone's being a little bit stubborn. So we met in, I want to say 2008. I was 14 years old and he was
17. I was kind of old, getting up there.
And back in the day, like, especially when you're like in high school, I was just transitioning into high school and he was also he was going into his senior year, so it kind of just, we're definitely not within each other's peer group per se.
I was chasing older girls back then.
That too, you know, he's always loved cougars, I suppose. But yeah, so I was also really shy, and I mean, contrary to some people's belief, I was actually much shyer in my youth than I am now. So I kind of wasn't really talking to anybody, and he happened to, well, actually no, we're skipping, like, what do you call it? Yeah. So backtrack, I am from Chicago, Illinois. John was also born in Chicago, Illinois, but he was raised in Gary, Indiana.
Gee, I was good.
And we both were nominated to go to a leadership camp called LEAD. And during that leadership camp, we were kind of like learning about religious tolerance, of being able to understand like other people's perspectives and upbringings. And this was around the time of it was like way past 9/11, but I think it was kind of inspired by 9/11 to kind of push for religious tolerance and respect for each other. Anyway, so fast forward, we end up actually being chosen. We had to go through this long process of like writing a personal statement and all this other stuff, getting references, and we ended up being like among like 40 people or less to even get the program.
It's a lot. Shout out to all the lead folks out there. What's going on?
I know, yeah. Shout out to you guys. I know you guys are probably like, how the hell did this happen? But you know, everything's happened for a reason, I suppose. But yeah, so we actually ended up being on the same flight because since he's from Gary, Indiana, like it's the closest, like, I guess, international airport happens to be O'Hare. So we both ended up coincidentally on the same flight, and I had kind of actually noticed him because he had this, not because of his looks, but because he had this what do you call it? It's like an Obama t-shirt. I'll try to like insert a photo or something like that. But,
real throwback.
Right. So he had his Obama t-shirt on, and you know, he was just kind of walking all cool in the airport area, whatever.
She was peeping me, man. She was peeping.
Whatever. I'm an observing individual. But yeah, so we ended up on the same flight, and then once we got to DC, we actually ended up having to meet with like a particular person. So that's when I finally noticed that like we were actually both going to the same thing, essentially. So yeah, did you want to talk a little bit more about like how your experience at LEAD was, real quick?
Yeah. I mean, you know, definitely. Like, what do you go about here? Chella? Chella. Right. So as she was saying before, you know, it's like a program for you know, young folks, mostly high school age students, to get together, talk about you know, religious tolerance, There's a lot going on at that time because of 9/11. So I thought it was really good. We did workshops. Met a lot of people who. It was a week-long program, and those summer camp week-long programs. It's crazy how close you get to people in that short period of time. Mm-hmm. So I think at the end of the week, I felt like I had known all of these people for 3 years or something like that. And I think for the most part, some of us have done better jobs of keeping in touch with each other than others, but we're all Facebook friends and comment on each other's things, and Leaders actually, when I first got a Facebook, I didn't have a Facebook. I was MySpace all day with my top friends list, and folks at Lead were for real, you still on MySpace? So you all encouraged me to get a Facebook and stay updated with the times. So
yeah, I guess for me, my experience at Lead wasn't as active. I will say I was definitely inspired by all the people that were there, but I kind of I wish I took more of an opportunity to really get to know folks while I was actually in the program, because since I was really shy, I more so kind of clung to people that were just as shy as I was, for example. Or I also had some of my roommates that I was really close with and were able to get to know me, but John happened to be one of the folks that always took the initiative to check in on me and I guess make sure to bring my perspective in different conversations and stuff like that. So I appreciated that, and that kind of stood out to me. And then since he was from Chicago, it always I guess tied us together. So it was me, him, and then we also had another Chicago person named Donovan. Hey to you. But yeah, so after that, it was obviously just kind of organic for us to be able to keep in touch. We had both created Facebooks, and we ended up more so just checking in here and there, seeing what we were up to. Like I mentioned, we both had to do a personal statement, and we were both really involved in different activist oriented stuff. I was part of this group called Save Darfur, Youth United for Darfur, to save Darfur during the genocide time period. And then he was doing a lot of stuff too, community organizing. Mm-hmm. He's really involved in his church. Ended up obviously being really involved in his on his college campus too. Mm-hmm. So he would still keep me posted on some different events that were activist oriented. We would just check in here and there. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, we would invite each other to the events that we were all organizing and stuff. So
yeah, and it was literally to the point where I don't know, I guess oh no I know we had we kept inviting each other to stuff, but it was always I don't know, too far out the way, or mm-hmm. things didn't work out. But I do remember this one particular time where we linked up at the Taste of Chicago. And yeah. Yeah, so we linked up at the Taste of Chicago, and I think during that time, I was 16 at that point, so I was 2 years older, and the thought of potentially sparking something with him kind of briefly crossed my mind, but I think I don't know, just the vibe that I was getting from him, since we were just such homies, it was kind of just oh no, I'm not gonna waste my time. I don't know, I just
you gotta understand, I was 19 at that point, so she's 16, I was 19, so I was in college by the age of 17, so I was 19, I'm college living, so yeah, I kind of put her in a little sis category, you like little sis, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, when I started the Taste, I was you little sis, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of little sis her a lot.
I ain't little sis no more, shit.
Hey, life.
Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all want me.
Life is crazy, man.
No, but yeah, so I guess, yeah, since nothing really sparked then, I was kind of just oh yeah, this is just a friend of mine, and we kind of maintained that homie vibe for what, like 8 years. Like even like during that time, he's like had like serious relationships. I've had my situations as well. And yeah, I never really even like thought twice to think that like anything romantic could spark between us two. Mm-hmm. So, he actually is like somewhat anti like social media sometimes. Like he has like some of his years where he decides to go ahead and just like take a break. So I think like during the duration of our friendship, prior to us dating, like he like quit Facebook for like twice or something like that, right? Or
I've quit Facebook a lot. And when I quit, I like delete everything, like permanently delete it. So
and like literally
Instagram, I deleted Instagram, and I was really good on Instagram. I deleted all of that stuff. Yeah, Twitter, all of that.
Right. So I feel like I think it was at least like 2 years that had passed or something like that when we hadn't gotten a chance to check in, and then all of a sudden you ended up like adding me on Facebook.
Oh, right, when I went to
And did you post on my wall or did I post on your wall?
I probably posted on your wall because that was when I went to Côte d'Ivoire.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to figure out like who did what first.
No, I definitely think I hit you up first because I was like, it was like I'm in Africa. Like I think she was probably one of the few African folks I actually knew. So I was like, I'm in Africa. You're African. Like. Like, give me some tips on what I should be doing here. It's kind of like that, like.
Oh yeah.
like look out for me while I'm out here. It's like.
And then I was telling him like, I think you're a little bit more African than I am, because even so he did like a Fulbright experience. For those of you that aren't familiar with his life, and.
On dit quoi tous les mots en Côte d'Ivoire?
And also knows a little bit of French.
A little bit.
Well, no, he's a little bit more fluent than I make it come out to be. No, right? But yeah, so he, prior to his Fulbright experience, he had already kind of like done some like study abroad stuff in college too. So he went to like Tanzania before. Mm-hmm. So he kind of was familiar and kind of knew what to expect and stuff. Right. And, you know, in comparison to me, who, like I mentioned in my last video, like I haven't been to like back home to the motherland for over like 20 years, with the exception of like our trip together. But yeah, so basically he hit me up then, and then I think like during that time frame, like Lupita was in.
And if anybody who knows me knows that I love me some Lupita, so yeah. So, oh yeah, I'm in love with Lupita, that is for sure.
So yeah, so Lupita was in, and I think like I commented on a photo that you posted of hers, like something like
East
like,
African girls is the bomb or
like
something
yeah,
that.
something like East African girls is winning or something.
Yeah.
And then first off, because like whenever we debate about like who came on to who or whatever, you try to make it seem as if like I was flirting with you and that.
I mean, you definitely was. I don't think that's a question.
I don't think so. I just think I was just boasting East African, you know, repping like us or whatever like that. That was.
Nah, she said something like, "Are you like East African girls? We the bomb," or something like that. Mm.
It wasn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm the East African girl. You need to go ahead and choose.
True. Touche.
That's what was going through your mind. So technically, you initiated in your mind first.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah, so basically, you know, we had kind of been having posts here and there, and then fast forward, it was getting to the point when he was actually about to come and return back to the U.S. And coincidentally, his birthday also falls during the summertime as well. So his birthday is June 18th, and I hit him up, and I was like, oh, you know, happy birthday or whatever, and he was like, oh, I'm about to be in town or something like that.
No, I was just saying, I was just saying kind of, you know, I get back in a month or so. Yeah, and then, you know, she was like, this is where, like, it gets debatable, but I don't think it's a debate. She definitely was like, oh, we should hang out. You know, and I'm just, you know, I'm kind of thinking, okay, cool, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell her about the trip and everything like that, but then I was kind of like, wait, is Achelle flirting with me? I was like, is she flirting with me? So then, because I had always like little sis her. So I never really, it never came into my mind that we would have something romantically. And I was like, is she flirting with me? So, then I started kind of, like going and looking at her pictures. Then I was like, okay. I guess the first pictures I saw, she still looked like young Achel. So I was like, okay, well, she's young Achel. Then I saw one where I think it was like more recent, and I was like, Achel grew up a little bit. You had those little moments, right? I'm like, okay, she did kind of grew up. All right, let's see where this goes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
See, you went ahead and you just told me yourself.
What you mean?
Like I said, again, in your mind, you were already initiating your situation with me.
No, so
yes, no.
I didn't start looking at your pictures like that until after you was like, we should hang out.
But the thing is, though, you initiated like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to be in town. So I'm thinking like, it's just one of those, we catch up, you know what I mean? Like similar to like when we were like younger or whatever, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm happen to be in Chicago, even though I live in Gary. So I was just like, okay, like, I'm assuming you're trying to initiate a hangout. I was like, all right, cool, like, come through, like, or whatever, let's link. And then
3 years later, right? Right.
I got the receipt somewhere.
Hey.
And then, mind you, obviously, because we had a track record of never really actually hanging out, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna hold you to it.
True.
Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing
right.
That's what it was. Like, I'm gonna hold you
right.
to it.
She was like,
okay.
I'm gonna hold you to it, and I was like, that's when I was like, but it was like a little, they use the little emojis where it's like, I'm gonna hold, I was like, okay, she flirting. So then, I peeped the pictures, and yeah, I was like, okay, all right.
I swear, men be just they be just imagining whatever they please.
Hey.
Well, anyways, so yeah, fast forward, we ended up hanging out. We went to like a
oh, we did a lot that day, yeah.
Yeah.
I had my nieces and my nephew, and we went to see one of my friends. What's going on, Sydney? We went to see one of my friends' plays. Play, I'm sorry. I forget exactly what it was called, but it was about
it was like
Young Girls Can Fly or something like that. Young Girls Fly. Yeah.
Right.
Amazing play if she does it again. Yeah, we did that, and then afterwards, this was around like the time when a lot of folks had occupied Homan Square, and it turned it into Freedom Square. Shout out to all the activists out here in Chicago. And we went there for a little bit. They were like having a village circle and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we went there. Took her and my nieces and nephew, and then it was like I had like some Fulbright money left over, so I like ended up.
He had a rental car.
Yeah.
He was trying to impress me.
Impress you and get around. Shoot, yeah. Never do that. Always try to. I learned that lesson. Always try to like, even if you gotta buy a cheap car, do that, because that rental, sheesh, it added up. Man. It was nice. It was on whole nother level, but it added up on you, boy. That's for sure.
I'm actually kind of surprised that we like spent that long of a day together. I don't know.
It was like the whole day for real, like literally the whole day. Yeah.
And then he drove me back to Egypt.
Oh yeah, that was. Yeah.
So yeah, we had dropped his.
That's back when I was sweet.
Nieces and nephew off to
I was sweet, nice back then.
To their house in like far south side, and then we ended up driving to my house, which is on the north side.
Almost.
Which is like what, like, oh, and mind you, obviously he lives in Indiana still at this point, so that's like literally.
That's how you know you kind of like
somebody
when you're doing all
out the way.
When you're personally Ubering people around, man.
Yeah, I think for me that was like the first time when I was like, oh, maybe he is into me, because like even after that we were still like more so doing like activist oriented things. Like we were like planning a action. We
were planning a anti-police brutality action, and Achel was coming to those as well. So yeah, I think I think that was something also that was kind of like drawing my interest to her. was that she was into like social justice and stuff, and it didn't seem like it wasn't like I was forcing her or she was doing it because she thought I wanted her to do it. You know, she was genuinely interested in, you know, social justice and people's rights and stuff like that. So that definitely like stood out and, you know, got my attention and everything. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we would meet like weekly, right? It was like weekly meetings.
Yeah, I think we would meet weekly, and then every time after the meetings we would have like he would drive me home basically.
Right.
I think that was it.
And then drive back to Indiana,
Yeah, but like you wouldn't like leave straight away though. You would like.
Yeah, we would eat or
sit
and talk in the car.
That was like, yeah, we would mainly talk in the car, like, because we hadn't gone on like a solo date. We had maybe like linked up with some like activist people.
True.
To like get some food or drinks or whatever like that, but.
True.
So yeah, we ended up having that, and then I think you had like put the bug in my ear about like African Fest.
Yeah, she was also like trying to hook me up with her friends at first too. Like, yeah, that was interesting.
In my mind, I'm still thinking, okay, we're homies, we're gang, so I'm like, oh, okay, he seems like such an eligible bachelor. He's not an ugly person. He's educated, you know, like he's, you know, he's out here doing a lot of things, and I always try to put my friends on. So I was just like, you know, oh yeah, no, I remember what happened. Like you were like on a panel discussion, and then I invited a friend of mine, and then I was like, oh, like low key, like, you know, I know he's single, whatever like that. You might consider. And I think she was potentially like, you know, he doesn't look too bad. I would consider whatever. But like you were not paying her any mind at all. And I think this is when like you first started to actually kind of like give me like some like attention or whatever like that. This is when like we both kind of like were like, maybe we are kind of like liking each other or whatever.
True.
Yeah. So, and then yeah, fast forward, we ended up doing going to African Festival together.
Also, like we also got to say, like she was like being she was a player at that moment in her life. You know what I'm saying? I just got back from Africa, so I'm like, my life is kind of, I'm hunkering down, you know, I'm getting into like potentially my career and everything, and you know, I'm just kind of like, okay, I need to be more serious.
That's unfair. What were you doing at 22? Okay. Okay, what were you doing at 22?
I was having fun.
Okay, then.
I was being young.
Okay, and so was I. Thank you.
Right. But that goes to the point, though. Like, I kind of understood that, and I was kind of, like, giving her space to do that, you know? But, you know, I think this is something that's been a sticking point in our relationship. Has been that since the very beginning is just, like, communication. So I think the reason we've been able to last this long is just communication and honest communication at that. And so I think during that period where, you know, she was, I mean, we both were probably exploring other people, but I definitely think like her being at a different place or stage in life, I think she was definitely a little bit more, she was just deeper into it than I was. So, you know, but I think we had honest conversations about that. We weren't like trying to hide it or like, I ain't talking to nobody else. You know, I ain't talking to nobody. You know, it wasn't like that. We was honest with each other about what was going on. And I think part of that came from like the friendship that we had before, you know what I'm saying? So I think us being friends from before, you know, we didn't want to mess up the friendship. So we took being honest with each other very serious.
Right. And that's, I mean, I didn't have to disclose all that I did with him, but I just felt like obliged to because of the fact that we were friends, and like he said, like I didn't want to ruin the friendship. So it's kind of just like giving him some like red flags, like, hey, just so you know, like I'm like, you know, playing the field or whatever like that. Like, and it honestly in my head at that point, like once I decided that I wanted to be with you, or like not wanted to be with you because I didn't really know what this was gonna come up because it was like really early on in early stages or whatever. But once I decided that I wanted to like take a leap of faith to like, you know, start dating you or whatever, or like see where things went, I did like take the initiative to like cut everyone off just because I was like, well, I mean, those people are gonna just be there. You know what I mean? So just like,
Shot.
no, it was just more so like, I feel like I could cut these people off and like see where things go with you, rather than me just continuing to date these people and then complicate our situation and then like ruin the potentials that we even could have had, you know? Whereas like if I cut these people off and then I see where things go with us and, you know, things don't work out, I could easily dabble like I could double back and be like, all right, cool, like it didn't work out and we would still have our friendship. Whereas
you see how players be out here? You see this?
Anyways, I feel like we've said plenty in this video. I'm sure you guys got to know a lot about both me and him in this story time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll go ahead and put his information in the description box as well, so you guys can follow him on Instagram. He posts a lot of like interesting, funny stuff about just being a revolutionary teacher. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Take it easy. Hey, stay safe, man. Keep that corona where it's at. All right, take care.
Take care, bye.
How low, wherever you say I will go.